So you sort of think, well, what are we even here discussing this thing for? It's hard to imagine a world, different than the one you live in, but I grew up in medicine all of my life. My father was a doctor, we had an office in our house, and I was really since infancy raised to be a doctor. And I wonder, I don't know that this is really any different. Like if the media hadn't gotten a hold of this, the politicians hadn't gotten a hold of this, I'm not sure we could be talking about this at all. I just don't think it's all that distinct, it's all that different. So, nothing unique about SARS-CoV-2. Number 2, early treatment works. There are now more than 300 published studies that show early treatment works. The evidence is not anecdotal, it is overwhelming. More than 300 studies. Hydroxychloroquine, yes, but also ivermectin, also budesonide. All right, there's others. Of course, you have to take zinc with that. But the point is, there's tens of thousands of physicians who attest to this worldwide. There's many physicians who've gone under oath in front of Congress to attest to the fact, and you now have a first-person account telling you that I've personally given it to many, 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 many patients who get better within hours. It's like a miracle drug. Miracle drug. It's not like an antibiotic when you take, which takes a while to work. It's literally, I've seen patients improve in as short as an hour, very, very frequently within 6 to 12 hours. Almost everybody is at least somewhat improved in 24 hours. It's amazing, okay? Don't let anybody lie to you otherwise. Number 3, the experimental vaccines were authorized on an emergency basis due to the foundational lie that there was no approved treatment. How many people here knew that? It's a pretty educated audience, but still not everybody. That's an amazingly important fact which we're going to keep revisiting. You could not roll these these vaccines out so quickly unless you met the standard that there was no other approved treatment. This is the reason they kept saying the drug doesn't work. Now, the science, there's so many lies I could go through, but just keep in mind those 3. Because the science is so incredibly easy to see, and yet it's still being ignored, it's obvious that there's something else going on. Seeing the real problem, though, requires like a paradigm shift. And we have to make that shift if we're going to be victorious in the overall war. It's not just a battle, we've got a war. As a doctor and a lawyer, I can easily recognize when a problem is medical or legal, and when it is neither. Do not think that a worldwide universal delusion could possibly be due to a medical or legal problem. The problem is spiritual, although the solution is practical. This is familiar to me as an emergency physician. No matter the cause of a patient's problem, whether it's physical, psychological, emotional, or spiritual, I still have to come up with a practical, real-world solution. So it's not trivializing it or changing it to say that it's spiritual. It's helping me recognize what the battle really is so that we can win. Now, excluding true sociopaths, and we have seen many this year.
Come out.
Most normal people will believe in something. And if it's not God, it will be something far more oppressive. This undeniable fact of human nature has always been exploited by tyrants, which is why churches are the biggest threat to socialist and communist dictators. Dictators have always exploited humanity's need to believe by merely substituting something or someone else nefarious in place of God. History is filled with these examples. A clear one is Robespierre's reign of terror during the French Revolution, which explicitly included the policy of de-Christianization. I don't think France has ever recovered. You think about it. Like it's funny, but they did kind of change them as a people. So you have to be careful about taking God out of the equation.